Welcome everybody in on letgoradio.net and on Facebook Live. I'm here with my wife Emily today because we are going to do a very special show. We've been wanting to do this one for a long time. We're going to do a show on CP, dating, and relationship. I got to get my wife in the. I know, because it flips. That's okay. Hey, Miss Nikki, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Let's make sure everything's working.
Hi, Nikki.
All right, so here's the thing. Like I said, we wanted to do this for a long time, and we've been talking about it. The hard part is coordinating this because there were about 250 questions that came in from the email bag when I sorted through and got all the emails that I wanted to get and decided to say, hey, are we gonna do this? Are we not? Because some of the questions were pretty deep. And honestly, I got a couple things I want to talk about first before we start in on the CP and dating a little bit. Sorry, got to fix my camera one more time, guys. I apologize. Come lean in this way a little bit. There you go. It auto focuses. All right, so a couple things. If I've sent you guys an invite for the CP Roundtable, please let me know if you are going to attend. A couple of you have, several of you have, but several of you have not. The CP Roundtable is Sunday, February 16th at 4 p.m. We will send you the invite as long as we know you are attending. So if you would like to attend, and I have sent you a message on Facebook Live, or via email, or via telegraph, or via carrier pigeon, please let me know if you were going to attend. Little carrier pigeons flying around. Okay, so I don't really have a carrier pigeon. I just wanted to make that sound on the radio. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it. And this show, we're excited. Okay, so we've got, again, the CP Roundtable, Sunday, February 16th, 2 days after Valentine's Day.
Why not the square table?
I don't know, but Emily, you added a can.
I'm sorry.
You can't. Oh, I'll fix it. I'll fix it, baby. Don't worry. I'll fix it. Everything gonna be okay. There. I'll cut off a little bit of my face. And I'll lean in this way. That way you ain't got to move. Okay, so next, also, March 28th. Mark that on your calendars. Make sure that you guys know we're going to have the Cerebral Palsy Conference coming up March 28th. Location's going to be in Suffolk, 9 to 5. Location is TBD, to be determined. We're going to get you that location as soon as we can. I'm talking to Ms. Winnie this week. Y'all, trust me, everything's going to be fine, and it's going to be awesome. Make sure that y'all clear your calendars for that. It's going to be an awesome event. Going to be a great day with some great people. I had a chance to go last year. I had a chance to speak last year. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great, great job by Miss Winnie and her staff, I want to tell you. So y'all make sure to get ready. Again, that's going to be March 28th, the Cerebral Palsy Conference, 9 to 5. We're going to have, let me see. Yeah. Oh, actually, you can contact Miss Wilson for more information at Kelly R. Smith or kellyschoiceinc.org. Sorry, I had trouble reading my own writing. Y'all know I get going. I'm trying to write, and I look all scribbly and chicken scratchy and all that. Okay, so I want to cover one thing real quick before we get going on this. I promised that I would. Those are the two things I wanted to go over. Let me get my notebook out of the way. Emily, did you have a question? You had said something, but I didn't know if you said, do you want me?
It was dumb. I said square table.
Oh, it's square. No. That is not dumb. Nothing you say is dumb. You are wonderful and loving, and I love you, and you're great. Emily wants a square table. We'll see if we can't work that out. All right. Miss Winnie, keep that in mind. We might change it to a square table. We don't know. But I want to send a special shout out to Andrew Hicks, a good friend of mine, for getting the Sports Minion wall all done and getting it. We had to move the camera a little bit today to get Emily in properly, but he did a wonderful job on this wall. He sacrificed like 3 days of his time to come help, and it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Andrew, for that. All right, one sports story I want to cover because this is going to be about a 45-minute show CP dating and relationships because we got questions out the yin yang. There are people. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to list all the names of the people that ask all these questions because, good God.
Could name a few, though.
I could, but then I had to name everybody, and I feel bad. I don't want to leave people out. I'm a good host. I don't want to be mean. But we'll see. Maybe I will. I have to remember them all because I don't have them written down. I got them from memory. So the one thing I want to talk about, the XFL. The XFL launched last Saturday. I like the league. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a 10-week league. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Two of the rule changes I do want to talk about. One thing I really do like is the difference in kickoffs. You have basically both teams that are 5 yards apart from the, I believe it's the 20-yard line, and when they cannot move, they're all set until the actual ball is kicked and it's in the player's hands and he touches the ball. The cool thing about this is, even though they're closer together, it minimizes the collisions and concussions and what goes on in the XFL as far as injuries are concerned. So that is a great thing. I do like the way, I love you can actually hear the referees on every call. Yeah, every call that they make, every play is under review. And it's not, they don't review it unless it needs to be reviewed. And I think this is something the NFL should look at because you can hear the referees, you know what they're discussing, you know what they're seeing, and also the coaches can talk to the players right up till the ball is snapped. And that is something that is new because they're coaches are letting the quarterback know and receivers know if there are changes in the Y and the X, which are the primary receivers, what's going on, where it's coming from, where it's going to. So basically, I mean, I like that, and I like the fact that they're changing that. But one of my favorite things is the changes in the scoring rule. Which the thing I like about it most, as far as it's from the 2, the 5, and the 10-yard line. You cannot kick an extra point. A touchdown is 6 points. You can score 1 point to go in the end zone from the 2, 2 points to go in the end zone from the 5, or 3 points to go in the end zone from the 10. So the cool thing about it is you've got all these plays that open up and all these trick gadget plays. Let's see. Would you be interested in an opportunity to get on TV and I'm part of a platform on Facebook and a real network? I will do that, Charles. I will as soon as I can. As soon as the show is over, let me get back to you on that, and we can talk a little bit more. That would be something that I would be interested in. But yeah, I will definitely direct message you off the air. Thank you for that opportunity. I appreciate it. But I do like the scoring opportunities because when you're at the 10-yard line, the playbook opens up quite a bit, and there's a lot of things you can do from the 10-yard line, even run, be a pass, be a trick plays. I mean, there's some stuff that goes on even in the NFL that was, I mean, the Fishy special. Wow. The Philly special last year was amazing, or not last year, the year before, to see some of these trick plays that have come out. Now with the XFL, you've got these talented pools of players that were, not necessarily starters on team. They were in training camp, but they didn't make it. They didn't make it, on a NFL team, or they made it and got cut. So, I mean, you've got to look and see. You've got a talented pool of quarterbacks, and I tell you what, the quarterback for the DC Defenders, this kid, whew, he got some skills. The Dragons were pretty good too.
How many years have y'all been married?
All right, we'll get into that in just a minute. I know Nikki's ready for this thing because she's already. All right, so that's what I want to cover with the XFL. I like it a lot. You guys can watch it. It's on Saturdays and Sundays. It's on CBS and Fox. There are early afternoon games and evening games. It's 10 weeks plus a championship. You guys go check it out. All right, so that's the sports I wanted to cover. And we're right about 10 minutes into the show right now. Right about what I wanted to happen.
Love the new XFL agree with everything you were saying.
Thanks, Charles. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun, man. I like it. All right. I think that this show has been a long time coming. We're gonna actually take questions from you guys as well. I've got several that I need to read, but we're gonna talk about cerebral palsy, dating, and relationships. Now we're gonna marry the three together. See what I did there? Marry that wasn't that good.
No.
Okay, no. All right. So Nikki asked us, how long have we been married? We've been married for 4 years. We got married on September 26, 2015. Shortly before that, I became a black belt in martial arts. I proposed to Emily at the dojo. It worked out. It was great. And we've been married for 4 years. So we're working on our 5th year right now, going into our 5th year. All right, so the first thing, the questions that I talk about, I'm going to answer from a guy perspective, and I'm going to let Emily answer them from a girl perspective, because she may have, something different to say that I don't. All right? Trust me, Nikki laughs at everything, so you'll see her little smiley faces, little hearts, and little thumbs up go all across the screen. All right, the first question that I have is from Beth from Virginia Beach. And Beth asks, I have been in a relationship with an ambulatory individual named Mike. He's able to walk. He does not have a disability. There is a young man named Nick that is interested in me that is in a wheelchair. What are the complications that you two find, or that you find dating each other in, if you're both confined to a chair or if one person is in a chair? All right, Beth, let me answer this. Do you want me to answer it first, or do you want to answer it first?
After.
Okay. This question depends a lot upon how severe the disability is, and honestly, how much help your spouse, wife, or husband needs. Honestly, my CP is not what I would call severe, but in the things that I have trouble like putting on socks and shoes, tying my shoes, stuff like that. I'm able to dress myself completely and all that. Emily helps with sliding a pant leg on or something like that, because it makes it quicker. It's kind of a give and take as to how everything goes, because where I fall short or where I struggle, Emily helps, and where Emily falls short or struggle, I try to help. Emily, what do you think about help with as far as do you think it's harder dating a person in a chair, or do you think it's easier because
I don't think it's harder, as long as you're able to find common things you're both able to enjoy without any complications. That can be kind of difficult to do, but if it'll, in the long run, it'll make both of you happier. So
okay, how do you go about finding common things that
well, it
you
depends
like?
on the person, because they might have different interests, but sorry, my mind went
No, it's okay. So you want to find something in common that you have with the person.
Yeah, but so you're both able to enjoy it, and then that'll
go ahead, Charles. If you want to throw something out there, that's great. If that's fine too. We'll get to you as soon as we can, as soon as the comment comes up. I think part of it is you everybody is going to have weak points and strong points. A relationship is not based on a disability. To me, whether the person is ambulatory and able to walk, or whether the person is in a chair, whether the person can use their legs or not, I don't think the issue is just that. I think it has to be a compatibility here. It has to be a compatibility in the heart and the mind, and you have to. Hey, Virginia, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Hi.
I think you have to have commonality spiritually. Because it's. I've dated women that can walk, and let me tell you, Emily is able to walk. So it's one of these things that you know, because she can walk, it does make my life a lot easier. And it makes her life a lot easier too. But there are things that Emily deals with, not necessarily on the CP front, on the cerebral palsy front, but she has spina bifida, okay? And there are certain things where she may have trouble.
For me, it's mostly memory.
Mm-hmm. And I was,
and he helps me with that.
Yep. See, I was getting ready to go there, and she helped me right along. I set up the budget, and I run, I help, make sure the budget stays intact, and have a bill plan and all that, and help with a lot of numbers. Now, Emily can do that stuff, but it's a little bit more complicated.
It takes me a lot longer, and it doesn't stick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that you want to make sure, and this is where, all right, look, when we first started dating, we weren't just like, oh God, let's get married. This is the most wonderful thing in the entire world because I love you. All right, look, I was, okay? but Emily was not. Honestly, guys, the key to being in a relationship for me, whether it's a person with a disability or not, is to communicate with each other and date. You got to date first. Going in first thing, head over heels, you got to find out about each other. The first 3 months in any relationship is rose-colored glasses. Everything is glorious. Every grain of salt she ever walks on, the carpet grain is beautiful. Everything is just great. Everything's great. I mean, it's just great. Yeah, my words work really well. Everything is back up just a little bit. Everything you're scraping on the bottom of the thing there and it's picking it up on the. It's all right. Everything is communication. You've got to be open with each other, and you've got to be honest. If people hold things in, and people don't communicate and don't talk and don't really tell you how they feel, you're going to run into problems. A person that does not communicate in a relationship and holds things in, whether you're ambulatory, whether you got one leg, no arms, one arm, one finger, it doesn't matter what issue you have. If you don't talk about your issues, things get dark fast. Okay? Now, we actually, and I'm being open and honest, and everything I've shared with them, I'm not going to share anything on the radio that Emily wouldn't want me to share, because Emily knows me, and she can tell when I'm frustrated. Emily can tell when I'm angry, and I can tell when Emily is upset. Now, here's the thing. In a relationship, and this is a biggie, a relationship is give and take. I can see an expression on Emily's face, and I can automatically assume, oh my God, something's wrong. I've got to fix it. Oh dear God, the world is ending. And Emily will go, leave me alone. I'm fine. And in my mind, everything in my power, Lord Jesus, goes, no, it's not fine. I can see it on your face. You're angry. Sometimes people have different ways of expressing things. And coping, that is correct. It has taken me 4 years, and I'm still learning, Lord Jesus, help me. It has taken me 4 years to understand that just because Emily's face may look a certain way to me, part of the issue is she may be trying to understand what is going through her mind. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about on that? Because I don't. How do you talk to them? Because
sometimes you just don't know exactly how you're feeling at the moment, because a bunch of emotions can mix together, or it's kind of cloudy, and it just doesn't come up clear. So you're not able to tell somebody exactly what they want to know anyway. So it's just best for me anyways to just let it be and just figure it out myself before I can get help from anyone if I need it.
How do you fit when you're not sure what your emotions are telling you. I mean, aside from leaving it alone and figuring it out, how do you process it? What goes through your mind to process it and figure out? Okay, now I can tell DJ because now I understand.
Sometimes I write it out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do something I enjoy to relax. Then that helps me gather my thoughts. Mm-hmm.
Do you think facial expression is misleading?
It can be.
Y'all heard that, right? I just, because
I'm very expressive.
And that's not, understand where we're coming from. That's not a bad thing, okay? I love everything about Emily. There are things that don't go perfect, okay? There are things that we don't really fight. We have had arguments.
We have little
spats, maybe
tidbits.
we have tidbits. Honestly, I really think that tips. That's what the word. I don't know what tidbits. I mean, that's like steak and shrimp. I don't know. We have tidbits on the table. There we go. Honestly, I think the big part of it is letting the person that you're with know that you're there for them. And when you say you're going to leave it alone, leave it alone, because it's hard. For me as a man, I want to fix everything. I want to fix everything. When Emily's hurt, I want it to be better. When Emily's upset, I want her to be happy. I've probably got some comments down here because it's Lord. Let me see. I've stopped
dating AB people due to the overall mindset of my disability. The whole mindset is different, however. That's not to say it doesn't work.
That's true. That's very true, Charles. The mindset is, I think, one of the most important things about dating in a relationship to begin with. When I met Emily, when she came down for the first time, I'll be honest, I knew right away, and I've told her, I knew. It took Emily a little bit longer to, whoa, boy, did she say.
Let me finish. I warm up to people a lot slower than he does.
Right.
He's more open. He's more friendly,
outgoing.
Love me.
That's great. I love that.
And I'm more cautious, so.
But but you're cautious because of what happened to you in your past, right? I mean, just to.
I mean, yeah, that could be it.
Or
I've had relationships that were hurtful, and just I've dealt with shady people. So
yeah, do you think careful. Do you think you? I mean, is it more processing when you warm up? Also, trying to figure out,
Well, yeah, you're trying to figure out the person, see if they're the right type,
compatible.
So yeah.
I think, honestly, what it all comes down to, because when we started dating, we had made a plan to wait 2 years. That was our individual, and our conversations when we dated were 4 hours. We would talk 3 and 4 hours. The downside to that, when you talk 3 and 4 hours,
you run out of stuff.
And see, she can finish my sentence because no, that doesn't bother me at all. That means that right there kind of proves the point of what I was talking about. When you're on the same wavelength, hey Scott, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. When you're on the same wavelength with somebody, and you're able to finish their sentences, it is great because that means you're on the same page. Now, let me be honest. Everything about a marriage relationship is not sunshine and rainbows. There are days that Emmy will say, Lord, if you come near me one more time, I'm going to take this Mountain Dew bottle and whack you upside the head with it.
And I've done that.
And it does hurt me so. But honestly, there are times when we need our own space. There are times when she wants to go out and do something. See, getting abusive already. Live on Let Go Radio. She just hit me in the arm. On Facebook Live, she beat me. Do it one more time. Whack! And, honestly, you've got to kind of get a feel for what the person wants. You cannot assume. I think that is one of my biggest problems that I have is assuming something when it's not actually happening. And it's because I am able to read people pretty well. I'm able to tell when something is bothering them, but I have to let her come to me. And all I can do is offer to be there and offer to show her that I love her and give her guidance. All right, this question, I want to get the next question out here is, wait a minute, I
was just scrolling to see if there was
something. This is from Tracy from, let's see, this is Utah. Tracy asked, what is one of the things you do when you get mad at each other? How do you deal with, is this corruption? No. How do you deal with, what does she say here? All right, hold on. How do you deal with problems in the relationship when one person does not agree on something if you have a difference of opinion? All right, Tracy, let me explain something. Every relationship is going to go through this. My brothers talked about this with us, and this was something in the beginning where I really struggled with. When we were first married, I did everything I could to make Emily as happy as I could, and I wanted everything to be everybody like everything and no differences, and I'm gonna like everything she likes, and she's gonna like everything I like. That doesn't happen. Okay, so let's throw that stuff out the window on the radio. Got to keep it clean. All right. Emily is her own person. And in marriage, you learn that that's okay. Emily likes her own stuff. She likes her own style of playing video games. Let me explain something. I learned I knew she was going to do that. I learned real fast.
I can't play the game when he watches. He wants to do it his way. I ought to do it my way.
And y'all can see how this episode is going to go. Look, there's everybody has their own way of doing things, and that's okay.
Hi, Scott. Scott.
Yeah. He's been on that. Scotty, give me more powder. There we go. But the thing about it is, I play. She likes Witcher. And I started liking Witcher because she played it, so I got it.
It's a good game.
It's a good game. And Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, it's been out for a while. And I started playing it, and I wanted her to play it a certain way. And I didn't realize that I was doing that because I was used to doing it my way. That is a common thing. The individuality of a person makes them who they are. So when I go in there now, I try to be quiet and try to help and say, hey, did you realize that was over there? Or did you see that chest over there? And I try to do little things like I'll just sit there and be quiet and watch her until she rams her horse into a tree and topples it over or burns it alive or and it's one of those things where you just let her be, and you honestly have to do that with both. And now I'll tell you, yesterday I struggled. Now I'm not going to go into what the struggle was about, but I'm going to give you just a general thing. I was very upset yesterday. Something hit me hard, and I was brought to the point of tears. And the only thing Emily could do was wrap her arms around me, let me get it out, and just stand there and just hold me because I was very upset. That, to me, makes a relationship work. You don't know what's wrong, and you can't figure it out. And this is a prime example of what we were just talking about, where you don't know Emily knew what was wrong. Emily knew what the issue was, okay? But all you can do, there was nothing she could do to make it better but put her arms around me, hold me, and let me cry. Now this thing about men don't cry, let me explain something. Men, if you get emotional, cry. I don't know where this stereotypical bull mess got messed around. That men can't cry. Lord Jesus, getting fired up over here. That men can't cry. Okay? Men cry. Don't let anybody tell you that you're weak.
It's okay to.
It is sometimes, and Emily said this yesterday, sometimes you just got to cry. Sometimes it's one of those things hits you, and it hits you hard, whether it's a loss of somebody, something you're going through, sometimes you're going to cry. Now, on the other end, when Emily gets quiet, I get worried.
I'm always quiet.
Nope. That's where I'm going to take a sip of the Mountain Dew. And it doesn't mean necessarily that something's wrong. Emily just, I kind of, would you say you kind of go into your own little world a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I'm like a recluse sometimes.
Why is that?
I just feel safe. Like my safe place.
Can you talk about what's safe about it?
Yeah. It's just comforting to go into a quiet area and just be you and just let things be. Kind of lets you deal with it less.
That's right, Charles. Never mess with a female gamer. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, y'all, she could throw that controller. I had to use my karate skill. Oh, Jesus, here it comes. Bob and weave, baby. But no.
I broke mine the other day.
But you know what? In all honesty, the differences of people make the relationship work. Now this question is this is from Sarah, and she doesn't put where she's from.
How's it 30 minutes already?
Yeah, it goes fast, doesn't it? See, you're just having a normal conversation, and 30 minutes already. Sarah asks, is there anything that the two of you cannot deal with? Do you disagree on something totally? And if you do, how do you fix it? I'll start on this one if you don't mind, dear. I don't think there's anything that we totally disagree on. Can you think of anything that we totally disagree?
Really. Not completely. I know we disagree on stuff, but not like completely.
Compromise in a relationship is important. And sometimes it can take days to get to a compromise. Sometimes, Sarah, a compromise is not reached in an hour. Sometimes a compromise is not reached in a day. Sometimes a compromise is not reached in 24 hours. Sometimes it takes time for the two of you to talk it out. And this is where dialogue communication comes in really.
There's not really a set time for it to be resolved.
Exactly. And that is what men and women have to realize. You cannot put a time frame on things and say, I need to have this fixed by this time. See, that's me. I don't like confrontation when it comes to my wife. I want my wife to be all sunshine and rainbows all the time. She is a woman that is not going to happen. Okay? There are certain times where it don't happen. Okay? I'm not going to go into when those certain times are. But it's okay. The best thing you can do is get out the way. And realize that it's not you. Sometimes inside there are things that she has to deal with. Let her deal with them. She will come to you if she needs your help. And I'm saying this to me as much as I am everybody else out there on letgoradio.net. If you guys have a question, okay, all right. The thing about life, and Emily will be back in just a minute. The thing about life is this. You got to understand that there is a point where sometimes you just got to let it go. And Emily stepped out for just a minute. She'll be right back. And sometimes letting a situation go and coming back to it later, when you're dealing with a problem, if you're dealing with a problem that you can't resolve, that you can't come to an agreement on, sometimes you have to stop, step back, let the other person talk, say what you want to say, and then decide, okay, do we want to keep talking about this right now? We're getting angry. Do we want to just step away from it for a little bit and come back to it? communication is a give and take game. And you got to remember, when the more you communicate, it's tiring because if you're trying to come to an agreement and it's not working, you got to step back and stop. Okay. I wanna go ahead and read this question, and I'll bring it to Emily's attention when she gets back. This is from, let me see. Let me go. Safira, I believe this is right. She didn't put where she was from. When I dated my boyfriend, we moved in to see if it would work. Is that something that you agree with? We were married shortly after. Let's see, we were married a year and a half after. We've been married for 4 years. I am not a person to say to move in first. That is strictly on my beliefs. I can only tell you, what works for me. Emily pretty much feels the same way, but I'll let her, discuss how she feels. For me, I believe that's why I believe you date before you get married, and I believe you do. Now, the one thing I do believe to set not necessarily a time limit on, but to say, look, when do you have when I get into a relationship, I don't get into it just to date. The question that Safira just asked, she said, when I met my boyfriend, we decided to move in together. We lived together for like 8 months, and then we're married a year and a half after. Do you agree with moving in together first before you get married? I basically said that's not within my beliefs. I didn't want to answer for you. I said I'm sure that you pretty much agree with it, but I didn't want to answer for you.
I agree with if it's a religious belief that it's probably not a good idea. But aside from that, I think it's a smart idea because, yes, you get to know the person. I wouldn't necessarily move in, but I would stay over. Just that way, if it doesn't work out, you're not stuck.
Well, see, and the thing about that is, I agree with that to a point, but I think that's where the dating comes in. I think that's where, that's why you date for a specific amount of time before you move in. Now, here's the thing: when you get married, things change. Don't let life tell you or somebody tell you that everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows when you get married. When you get married, you see each other all the time. Okay? There are going to be times where Emily, or myself.
Plus, we don't work, so we don't get like most people have to break at a job or something.
Yeah, and see, that's another issue. And getting into this, the last 30 minutes of the show, we're going to talk about some of that. I've worked in communication. I've worked in cell phone. Emily's worked in the restaurant business. Emily's been volunteering. When you don't drive and you're not able to get out like you would like, it's tough. Okay? It makes it strenuous to where you have to find somebody to help you out. But it's good to get out of the house. You have to get out of the house. If you stay creeped up in that house, depression is going to set in. Let me let you know. You cannot hide it. You cannot get away from it. You've got to get out. And there are things that we have near us, thank God, that we can go to the dollar store, to Ollie's, to restaurants, to Jukebox Live, to different areas where we can play pool. There's bowling. It's one of those things where it is tough, okay, to rely on other people. Would you not agree? It's tough to rely on other people?
Yeah.
I'm trying to let Emily talk a little bit too, because I know I want her opinion to be heard. What do you think is hard about when you're not able to drive?
Well, I mean, you pretty much covered it. The most things you may want to do are further away, so, and then there's the having to rely on other people who you don't know their schedules all the time, so that could be very, very frustrating, and that wears on both of us sometimes.
Because we both want to do things, and we can't.
And I don't know about him, but I feel like kind of a burden whenever I have to ask someone to drive me places.
You know, I did for a long time.
I still do.
And sometimes, you know, I'm real cautious now, especially my buddy Steve. I'm real cautious now of their time. Because when they, you know, come over to get us or come over to take us somewhere, you know, we have to be conscious of what they are doing, because they're taking their time to take us to Walmart or take us to clothing stores or take us to wherever we want to go. That's why I mentioned my buddy Andrew, you know, coming over and helping and, you know, making the wall and all this, sacrificing all the time. I offered to take him and his wife out to eat to thank them for, you know, helping us with the wall and all that time. Now, in the same sense, in that same moment, that's got to be one of these where he's got to drive us somewhere. We've got to go somewhere, so he's got to come pick us up. And you feel bad for that because you're like, man, can't I do anything? Well, why don't y'all try public transportation? Let me tell y'all something about public transportation. How can I say this nicely without blowing up Let Go Radio? Public transportation is somewhat unreliable, to say the least, because you got to schedule a pickup time, you got to schedule a return time, and then you got to wait. And if you use public transportation, you got to play the waiting game. I had to wait 2 hours at the doctor's office the other day. Lord Jesus, let me keep it clean. Hold on. All right. So I think, honestly, when we want to do things relationship-wise, it's tough. This next question I wasn't going to read on the air, but I'm going to. It's a little bit personal. This is Alexis, and she's from Boston, and she asked, we have Richard and I have been married for 10 years. Richard does not want kids, and I do. We have stayed married because we love each other and we care for each other very much. I have talked to him about adoption. We are not totally against the idea, but it costs a lot of money and you have to have your ducks in a row. How do you feel about children when one person may not be able to carry or the other person may not be able to conceive? That's a tough question because really you've got to be careful how you answer this, because the biggest issue is you've got to keep your wife's feelings in mind, and you've got to keep your feelings in mind too, because it's important, okay? But you have to realize I think the biggest question is, can you take care of yourselves first? Mm-hmm. If you cannot take care of yourself, you do not need to have children. Nope. Because you're putting them in a situation where if there are problems to where they can't be taken care of, you're hurting that child. Now, do I want children? Yeah. Do I want a little DJ running around, you know, wearing his little Redskins jersey? Yeah. Okay. You know, Emily is not able to carry. That is something I knew going into the relationship. That is something she knew. We've talked about adoption. It may happen. It may not. But the main thing that we look at, and I'll let her answer this too, is just like I said, you've got to be able to take care of yourself first. You've got to have food, clothing, transportation, insurance. You've got to have ways to be able to do what you need to do. All right, let me see. I have heard. Let's see. I have
a hard question. How do you deal with past damage of past relationships? My girlfriend is a little person and stands 3'2". Guys have put her down all the time. How can either I or She fixed her damage.
Yeah,
I love her with all my heart, and yes, she's 3'2", but she's bigger than me, one powerful woman.
That's a great question, Charles. Let Emily answer this one question, and I promise you I'll get to that. What do you feel about? How do you feel about the? Can you talk just a little bit about kids and how you feel about it?
Well, for me, I like adoption because I, for one, was adopted, so I think that's a very good option because it helps a child in need and who, is already born and needs a home. And
keep going. You're okay.
Of course, having children is great and all, but again, you don't want to bring another life into the world if you're not ready and prepared for it, and don't have the resources and don't have,
a way to provide for the child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you're ever really ready. You cannot prepare for a child because it's gonna turn your world upside down in a good way, whether you're ready for it or not. And we'll touch on that a little bit. The time's kind of getting away from us here. 46 minutes into the show already. Let me answer Charles's question. Charles, past damage is a tough thing to look at right off the bat. One of the reasons that Emily and I got together, she knew about my past life and she knew a lot of things that I went through. Having a little person, and I hope I'm saying the correct term. That in itself, there are challenges there, but for people to put her down, anybody puts Emily down, and I'm with her, my chair is full go, and I will stand up for my wife, even though my legs won't. I'll tell you right now, I'll clothesline somebody so fast. I'm not a violent person, but you disrespect my wife, we gonna go. I can't say what I would say, but because we on the radio and I'm trying to keep it clean. But honestly, sometimes you have to be the bigger man and you have to defend her. If you're in a public place and you know what's right, you've got to defend her to the best of your ability. Let her know that you love her. Let her know that she is the number one in your life. And don't worry about people, because people are jealous of what they don't have. And they will come across and say, oh, this person is this and this person is that. And it will come across.
They also are scared of what they don't understand.
That's true. That's very true.
When they see something they're not used to,
mm-hmm.
It's like a defense mechanism, which I'm not defending at all. But us being in wheelchairs, we get a lot of people like that too, who don't understand what's that device they're in, or especially like little kids, but that's understandable.
Mm-hmm. Man, I got to get me one of those. Yeah, that's the whole. Yeah, I mean, that's true, Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I would say just bring her up emotionally. Make sure she knows from you, and I'm sure you already do this. Make sure she knows how special she is. Mention the things about her that are special, that only she is. Just bring out the good in her, and so she never forgets that, and then that won't take away the negative that she deals with, but that'll, kind of soften it.
And
she'll focus on that.
And there's some damage that you can't repair.
Because you can't stay away from all the
negative,
stupid biscuits out there.
The stupid biscuits. Wow, that's a good one. There are a lot of stupid biscuits. Let me tell you, some of them have mustard on them, some of them have mayonnaise on them, and some of them are hard as a rocking
board. A
lot of stupid biscuits. There you go. All right, keeping it clean on LetGoRadio.net. That's good. Stupid. I like that. That was good. I honestly think it is a combination of just be there for her. Take her places, show her off, get her out in public. And sometimes you've got to let it roll off the shoulder, because some people are just ignorant and they're going to say what they're going to say and they're going to do what they're going to do because they want to bring the attention on them and they want to bring you down. But ain't nothing that can bring you down, because if God put her in your life, He put her in your life for a reason, and you guys are going to be great no matter what happens. There's a lot of past damage in every relationship, but some of it you can't fix. You can just be there to patch the holes when the water leaks through, and that's the best way I can say to get it going. Listen, this episode's been great, man. I can't believe our hour's almost up. We got about 10 minutes. I do want to read. I do want to read this last email to end on a. No, thank you, man. I call her my. Yeah. That's cute. I like that. I might use that, brother. If you don't mind, if you ain't got a patent on that one, I might slide that in there a couple times. Queen Emily sounds kind of nice. I like that. I wanna ask this. Let's see.
She's a fun size queen.
Yeah, she's. That's funny because Emily.
I'm short, so
Emily,
I say I'm fun size.
You're 5'1", right?
Yeah.
So Emily says she's fun size all the time. I love her just the way she is. She's my perfect height, But there was a question from Kira, I believe the name is, and she asked, "What is a funny story that happened to you when you were dating?" Before you were married, and what is a funny story that has happened to you in your marriage? All right, so a quick dating story. I was my buddy Steve has been going to karate with me for 6 years now, and we would go and pick up Emily when she was in North Carolina, and the first time that Emily came down, I met her mom, and I wrote her a song and got 6 roses for Emily and 6 roses for her mom. Well, I made sure to get Emily red roses and get her mom yellow roses, which are the sign of friendship.
Also her favorite.
And also her favorite. But I didn't know that at the time because I had never asked. And I think I did. No, I actually, once we got them, she was very receptive to have them, but she didn't tell me they were her favorite before because I didn't want to give away the surprise. But I wrote a song for Emily and sang for her and then gave her the flowers, and I scored some brownie points with Mom because I gave her flowers too. And ever since then, it's been great. Funny story when we are married. The very, oh Lord have mercy. The very first night, our night of our honeymoon, as a matter of fact, we were. I guess the sun came up. And Emily got up to go to the restroom, and
why are you mentioning
because and the sink fell off the wall.
I fell and I went to grab the sink to catch myself, and I tore the sink off the wall. Water started spouting out everywhere, and I tried to plug it up with my body because I was panicking. It was just really bad.
Okay, let me explain one thing. The sink was not on the wall well. The sink was loose. We didn't know the sink was loose. And I said, I'm asleep, okay, until I hear, and I'm like, what the world's going on? Because it takes me a minute to realize where I'm at. And Emmy's going, woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, Emmy, what's wrong? She goes, I fell. Call 911. I'm like, Lord Jesus. And I see water spewing out.
I'm saying, oh God.
I'm seeing water spew out of the bathroom, all in the carpet. She's sitting all up against it with her back, trying to get the water to stop. And we had to call the fire department and get the water out of the stuff. So look, things happen in marriage. Okay, everybody says, well, that was a sign. If y'all can get through that, y'all can get through anything. I mean, it's it's one of them things. Look, marriage is about one thing, and I'll say this: marriage and dating. Oh no! Wow. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna comment on that one, bro. I can't. I gotta keep it clean on the radio. But I do want to say, look, marriage is about love, and if you love the person and you want to be with them and you believe that you should, do it. it's not about the disability. It's not about what's wrong with the person. It's not about how the person looks or the disadvantages that you or her may have. Uh, whatever floats your boat and makes you happy. If you want to be with a person, be with them. There's nothing stopping you from making your life happy. There's nothing stopping you from making her life happy. My number one goal in my life is to make Emily smile every day. If I don't make her smile, I ain't done my job. Now, sometimes
you can't do that every day, though.
You can't do that every day. Took the words right out of my mouth. But I'm going to try my best to make her happy. And you can always try your best to make her happy. Guys, you can contact me at thesportsminionradioshow at yahoo.com. You can contact me on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/thesportsminionradioshow. You can also contact me on YouTube at thesportsminionradioshow at youtube.com. And please don't forget to follow us on Twitter at thesportsminionradioshow at Minion Sports. We are on the air every Wednesday, usually from 2 to 3. Today we had to do a little bit late. DJ didn't get much sleep last night, so we had to move the show up just a little bit. So right now, we want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. We want to say thank you, everybody, for listening to our show today.
Thank you.
And thank you, Emily, for being on the show. You're always great. I love you. You're wonderful. And Mobo's on the radio. And that is the one thing I will tell you is having Emily in my life is a blessing, and I love her dearly. I will do anything for her, and if anybody tries to hurt her, I will take their legs off and beat them with it. Just to let you know, I'm not a violent person, but I love my wife, and I'll do anything for her. Remember, if you guys want to keep emailing me and send the questions in, I don't print out the emails. I actually get my emails that I'm going to read out the day before or the day of the show, because I don't want to look like I'm, looking like I'm reading something on it, because then I hide my beautiful face, and I'm not going to do that.
And if you want me to appear again, let us know, because I'm shy and awkward, and I don't know what I'm doing, and so just
I am so happy.
And I'll try to be here again if I need to be, but I don't know.
Yeah, getting Emily to do this was like pulling teeth, because I begged, and she thought she was going to start laughing on the radio hysterically, and she looked at me, she said, how are we in 30 minutes already? The show's almost over. I tried to tell her, but you know what? Sometimes you got to figure it out for yourself. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Those who came in, thank you. Thank you for your questions and comments. Charles, Nikki, Scott, thank you for tuning in. Virginia, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Please share this. Please watch it. I'll be posting it in all my groups. If you can't be bad, be good. But, Lord, if you can't be bad, be good, but be... One more time. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J. With the saying thank you so much. Being part of the show, we really appreciate it.
Oh wait,
Emily.
Hi, Dan.
Dan just came in at the end of the show.
Hi, Dan. Sorry.
Please make sure that you go back and watch.
Should we talk forever, Riz?
No, we can't, honey. I've only got an hour. I can go on the radio again at some time.
Well, you can rewatch this.
Yep. Dan, you can come in and check it out. Thank y'all so much for being part of the show. Take it easy. We'll see you next week on the Sports Minion Radio Show from 2 to 3, where I deliver sports to the community the best way I can.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.